What's happening, my friends out there in your YouTube land? Yours truly, Rockin' Dave, the real deal. North Fort Myers, Southwest Florida, also known as Hurricane Alley. Hope everyone is safe out there. That happens to be plugged, the PRS plugged right into the GT1. This little Boss GT1, man, still has a great sound. I love this thing. What I like about it is I can manipulate any order of my effects in the chain. So in other words, if I want to take the flanger and run it through the distortion and the amp as opposed to the effects loop, I could do that and I get the really unique sound. Let's see who's in the chat. I got some people on. John Dawson, what is happening, man? Yeah, thank you so much, my friends. We are, well, we put up the thumbnail and yesterday we put our shutters down and secured everything. So we're kind of like entombed. But our neighbors back there, man, they gotta tell you what. These people that leave their debris out in the yard, they gotta pick that up, man. You know, bicycles and garbage cans and whatever, you know, because see, that's the stuff that when you get a powerful enough wind, you know, this hurricane hits, it blows stuff around, and that's what's bouncing off of people's houses. That's what hit the part of our roof, somebody's shutter. They call them clamshell shutters. Well, I guess it wasn't secured. I don't think it was secured because we secure ours. You get little wing nuts and secure them tight enough, man, they're not going to go anywhere. But we don't tie them up, they get blown off the hinges and they start flying in the air, man. And they bounced off our roof over here. Thank God we were able to get that fixed. But you see, this is what does the damage. So, yeah, they got to start doing something about that. Maybe they need to find people who are not doing this. It's different if someone needs some help. You know, at least, you know, send out the message on Facebook page or whatever, but don't just leave stuff laying around your yard, man. It's like with tornadoes, you know, if it's coming. With hurricanes, we get a little bit of a warning. Tornadoes, they come randomly, so. But we hope everybody is staying safe. All our neighbors, our friends, my cousin Lorraine and Mickey up in Lynn Haven. I hope you guys are staying safe. I guess really the storms could be hitting up by the Panhandle, but I mean we could get some debris blown around here. You know, it's after Hurricane Ian, my friends. You got to be prepared. You just got to be prepared. You know, you never know what's going to happen, and we hope our friend up in Bradenton, Mike Lipinski. I hope you're staying safe too, brother. You know, bucker down and just be safe best you can. And our YouTube friends, Jason Stallworth he's up in Bradenton area. Hope you're safe, as well as Bad Brad up in Tampa. Be safe. Welcome to Florida, Brad. This is part of things. Look, sometimes these things are not that bad, but it's when it does get bad, and this is what happened with Ian, at least in our area. Ooh, the destruction. Things have started to come up as far as reopening, but it's not 100%, man. I got photos we took this last week of the buildings in Matlacha Island that are still like hanging off, you know, on all cockeyed and, you know, debris everywhere. And this Hurricane Ian hit 2 years ago. 2 years ago on Monday, I think it was on 22nd. It did a lot of destruction, so I mean these things are nothing to joke about. And in our area, in the Lee County area, I think it was 186 people died from it. So it's tragic. You don't don't want hurricanes to hit anywhere. You know, it's real sad, but you do the best you can. That's what you do. You know, and what it's always the aftermath. If if you're fortunate and blessed enough that you don't get that much destruction, but the other places do, you gotta be prepared for it, man. Um, for we are, like I said, we're still not 100% reopened, but like right after the hurricane hit, we lost like 75% of places to play at. Boom, done. And a lot of those places never reopened, never. And it's real sad because you know all the advice that's out there about doing things, full time, this, that, and the other, and it's a great experience. Don't get me wrong. I'm not knocking it, man. I love it. But there's that other side that if you're not prepared, man, it's gonna wipe you out, man. And if you're already on limited funds, and then your gear gets destroyed too, that's what happened. Now what? Oh, we'll help pitch in and buy new gear. And I want to thank all those who reached out for us financially. You didn't have to do that, but we really do appreciate that. And for those, whether it was financial or not, you just your thoughts and prayers, man. That means a lot. I'll never forget that. We'll never forget that. So we're very appreciative of that. And even for those who other people were kind enough to reach out and help musicians replace their gear, there was still no places to play at because they got wiped out. They got destroyed. So there's a guy that has a place called a restaurant that I played at called La Ola, and he had a restaurant on Fort Myers Beach, and it got wiped out, got totally destroyed. And Tom is his name, the owner. He was on the news about a week ago, and he reopened on Fort Myers Beach, but like some people are doing the food truck thing, what he did, he took a couple of containers, storage containers, and he got them on like some flatbeds, and he was able to. I didn't weld them together, but he got them together with a piece of sheet metal, bolted them to help reopen his waterfront restaurant, and he did a great job. And he did everything well thought out, man, well thought out, safe, secured. Um, it might be maybe it might take a semi truck, a smaller semi truck, not a really big one, but a smaller one to move it because it's still on the flatbed. And then the town said something about, oh no, you need to have it where a smaller truck could pull it. Well, if a smaller truck could pull it, that means it's like, it's not that heavy. That means it's very lightweight. That means the wind could just blow it all over the place. What he did was he has it nice weight, strong, and where it's very easy for him to detach each side, how he's got them put together safely, and still be able to remove it and not have so much destruction. But I guess the town is giving him a hard time, and I really feel bad for him because he put a lot of money into this, and he's trying to get things reopened for us musicians. And see, this is what I mean, guys. This is what you're gonna go through. And I know you're down here. If you watch this, Brad, if you see this, you're down here. I know you're up in the Tampa area, and but this is the only thing with being in this area, which you gotta be careful of, because the destruction, it's massive, and when it comes down to when places are rebuilding, they're gonna want to have music again, and art and all of that. But at the critical moments, that's not an important factor, man. You know, so it's really tough. So that's something you got to keep in mind. If you live in the Midwest, like that's where we're from, the Chicago and Chicagoland area, and that whole area from the Texas to the Midwest, they call that Tornado Alley. Tornadoes, in my opinion, could be worse because they come without notice. Boom. If it wasn't for the tornado sirens, which really, in the city of Chicago, they were known as the air raid sirens. Every Tuesday at 10:30 in the morning, they would go off. and it was a test to make sure that they were tested. And their primary function was if we ever get hit with another enemy attack, from like World War II and when all that was going on. It's air raid. That's what they call it, air raid sirens. But then it also got applied to tornadoes as well. So, yeah, I just want everyone to be safe out there. Now, in the thumbnail, I also mentioned about how Fort Myers, downtown Fort Myers, the drastic changes, a total 180 change. Let me make sure. Oh, if let's see. Okay, so far I could see some, the comments. But if I can't see the comments, guys, and I want to apologize and make this clear, I'm not ignoring you. I just can't see them. There are times this phone will do this. So I apologize if I'm not responding. If you got a question and I don't respond, chances are I didn't see it. And if I go like this and it still doesn't come up, then yeah, so far, yeah, John, thank you so much, brother. I appreciate it. So at our music walk last Friday, it was very interesting. And I mean, this has been going on. Actually, this has been going on since they reopened up the music walk and art walk. Mostly the music walk, though, after Hurricane Ian. Downtown Fort Myers did a total 180 flip. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, brother, you're still here. Yep. I appreciate it. Thank you. What happened is that what downtown Fort Myers, the music walk, what it originally was for, when we got down here, I guess it's always been going on, even way before we got down here, 7 years ago. But its original intent was for the restaurant owners to either walk around and check out who they want to hire, or have their staff walk around and say, hey, check out the bands and see which ones you like or which ones you think are good, so we could, see if they want to come in our restaurant and play. That was its original intent. But after Hurricane Ian hit, it destroyed everything down there. A lot of people had to sell what they had. New people came in and bought it out, remodeled some of the restaurants. And one of them is called the Barrel Room. When we were walking past, it's called the Barrel Room. They never reopened. And we did a gig there. I got a couple of videos of me playing there with a sound check. I wish I would have been able to do the live stream. At that time, something was going on with the live streams. I don't know what the hell, what was happening. I don't think that's why maybe I couldn't stream it live. But man, we had that room packed, man. We had it packed to capacity, and it was great. But see, now they can't open up, and it's after the hurricane wiped them out, man. But the places that did open, they did a 180, and they went from having live music now to DJs. So I don't know if that's happening in the areas that you guys are at, but if it is, just be prepared. There's this shift that's going on, and I'm not saying live music is totally wiped out. And some of the places might have it occasionally during the day, or when you have. I know one of the places that we walked past, and it's not. When last week, I called it the Social Club. It's really called the Social House. That's the real name of that place. But one of the places that was, well, here a couple places. One was, I think, called City Tavern. They used to have bands. They don't have bands no more. Or if they do, it might be very sparingly. And where the stage used to be, they got tables and booths in there, and they got all the TVs. Kind of turned it into like a hangout for like the college aged group and sports bar. That kind of atmosphere. The place that's close to where we walked to get into the parking garage, I forget the name of it now. It is behind. I did a gig at this tea house where they had the backyard court area. It looked real beautiful, real nice. And behind that place it's vacant. It's the hurricane destroyed that. they remodeled or they're able to get things cleaned up, or the owners of that property did, and it's just sitting vacant. So who knows what's going to happen with that. But the property behind it became, they fixed that up, and it became a restaurant with a beautiful outside court garden patio thing. Real nice. I think one time they had a band, and it was on a Friday, and they were finishing up as Deb and I were bringing our gear to our new area where we're setting up, and we were starting at 6 o'clock. So they were finishing up like around, I want to say around maybe 5:30. They were finishing up. So that tells me that it was an event that they had at that place, and they hired a band, because otherwise it's all DJ music, what they call the EDM, electronic dance music. In some ways it's kind of sad, but in other ways you can kind of see this coming, because things have gotten so saturated and played out that maybe they were just waiting for an opportunity to flip the downtown music scene. And the hurricane was the perfect, I don't want to use an excuse, I don't like saying that, but it was the reason for them to do this, because since the hurricane wiped everything out, they had to remodel anyway. A lot of restaurant owners either sold or got bought out, or partnered up. And even when someone partners up with another restaurant owner, if they have the more percentage of money going in, they got more to say. And maybe they're saying, you know what, I'm seeing the demographics changing here. And they also built brand new high-end apartments called the Ivy. Very expensive. And what Deb and I have been noticing is, like I said, the demographics have gone from, on Fridays in the evening, gone from a lot of retired people to now college age people. The shift is like I said, 180, that drastic. I will say this though, when we were done, playing, and we're taking our cart with all our gear back to our car, the parking garage, not just yesterday or last Friday, this has been every time we've done this since the change. Those people have been so polite to us. The security guards would they have areas roped off where they're, I guess if they're cover charging people, or checking out, making sure that they're not bringing any weapons or anything. They would move their roped off area, make sure we get through. The young college kids were very polite to us. I mean, it is like, Deb and I look at each other like, you wouldn't think that. You would look at these people, and if a person who are of our age might think, oh my God, here comes the young crowd. They're gonna be destructive. They're gonna be rude. They're gonna be disrespectful. This and the other, and it's anything but that. Now we don't hang out till 2 o'clock in the morning. I think some of those places might have a 2 o'clock license. The music walk definitely ends at 10 o'clock. The art walk will end at 9. We'll go from 5 to 9. The music walk usually goes from 6 to 10, but they're real strict on ending that. And they got the police presence out there, so yeah, that's gonna help deter anything from starting to happen. I'll tell you what, down here in Florida, at least in the Southwest area here where we're at, they're not messing around. The police ain't messing around. So don't think you could try to get away with something and get a slap on the wrist. No, man, ain't like that down here. But again, they're very, very polite. Very, very polite. Now, we've been very fortunate and I've been taking notes of this for, wow, maybe we've been doing our music and art walk down here about a year now, I think. Yeah, because the lady that has it, Lori, she seen me playing at Mercola Market, and that was over a year ago. And she started having us down there, and it was sporadically. Then she got an area that's basically designated. We could keep that area if we want. She said that, and everyone's liking it. We said, okay, yeah, that works for us. So we've been having that for, If it's not a year, it's close to a year. And it is every other Friday, unless it rains, of course. So, what we have noticed, the demographic switch. Um, the music that I've been playing, the fusion music that has a little bit of a groove to it and all that, whether it's a little bit fast, fast tempos or slower tempos, I've noticed this younger crowd really liking it. When they're walking by and they're kind of grooving and moving to it, or there was a young couple, it could have been, I don't know, maybe very early 20s, slow dancing together, getting into it. And it's so weird because they're doing this to my originals. They don't even know it's originals. They just like the groove. And they're really getting into it. And it's kind of refreshing to see because it's proof right there that if your music is good, it's good. And what I'm noticing with this newer generation, what is happening? Hey, Surf Prophet, what is happening, brother? Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you very, very kindly. Hey, Prophet, the guitar is right there, man. That's going to be coming out probably on our next music walk. I got some new strings. I'm going to restring it. And, for those being stock single coil pickups, and the double coil works great too. But usually on less expensive guitars, the single coils are kind of, not too good. These things work great. I don't know what it is they did. Whatever they put in this guitar, man, it's definitely a keeper and a winner, man. That is for sure. So getting back to what I've been noticing is that these kids are really getting into it. And now, when I start playing some of the classic rock stuff, then they kind of, okay, that's not for them. That's grandpa's music. That's how they're seeing it. That's exact. Well, I'll be 61, so to them, I am like grandpa. I mean, that's the reality. Some of them I'm like dad because some of them are a little bit older, but a lot of them are late teens. I mean, very late teens into early 20s. That demographic. And I don't know how many of them will come up and they'll say, "Wow, man, that sounds nice, man." When we were tearing down on one of the music walk gigs we were doing, really young. I don't want to say really young girl, but a young early 20s. Her and her boyfriend. She said, I really don't like guitar music yet, but what you were doing, I never thought that you could fit it with this kind of music, and it sounds perfect. They're young. This is their time, and what we're starting to experience. Um, real quick, I saw a video, a post. I didn't watch. I think it was Rick Beato had WTF. We call it Welcome to Florida down here. What the happened to music? Well, I could tell you, Rick, from the performer's point of view, what's been happening. I can tell you in a nutshell what's happening. In one word, or two words, oversaturation. And I think he's referring to, like a lot of other people are referring to, with the classic rock stuff. And if he's referring, meaning Rick, if he's referring to the newer generation versus our generation, well, of course we're going to feel bad about our generation starting to fade, and that's what's happening. Not 100% though. There is younger kids that are out there rocking out. When we do the music walk, a School of Rock is by the cigar bar, kind of around the corner and around the bend, and it's young kids. One of the girls that rides my bus with me, she was involved, and I don't see if she still is or not, but was involved with School of Rock, and which I think it's a good thing to get the kids out there to play. The only thing I wish they would do, and I contacted them one time and they never returned the phone call. And they're actually their location is about 40 miles. No, not 40 miles. Maybe over 20 miles away from my house, and it's just not worth 40 miles. That's there and back. But they never returned the phone call. But I maybe they don't need teachers and that. It's okay, that's fine. I don't care. But the problem that I see it seems that they're only teaching these kids all these cover songs. And that's cool to keep the music alive. And I'm not knocking it, but in conjunction with this, teach these kids some of the newer stuff. Mainly teach them rhythms, because how I learned how to play guitar was in grade school, and the teachers were putting these maybe these old standard folk songs together. But I remember before we learned any of the songs, we would have to strum chords and learn how to do chord changes and strum them. And she would test us with different types of rhythms, strumming patterns. And by today's standards, that would be like, oh, that's boring, doesn't sound music or anything. But back then, it was very musical, because basically, let me get a clean sound here. I'll demonstrate with the electric. We'll do the quill tapping. Maybe I'll. Let's see. Well, before we could do that, it would be and over we would take two chords and just go back and forth. And then once we got used to that, she would tell us, all right, let's try this, and she would do a little demonstration. I can't remember exactly what she was doing, but it'd be something like this. So it'd be like after a week of practicing, we would take the guitars home. For those of us who didn't own a guitar, I didn't own one at the time. I was only 11 years old. That was 50 years ago. So I'd bring the guitar home on Thursday. I would, because that was when lessons was, and we'd have the guitar. Me and my sister, she was taking it because she was in a different. She was younger than me, so she was in a different class. But Thursday was guitar lessons, and we'd bring the guitars home, and all week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, practice. And then bring the guitars back, and then no guitar Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, because we didn't own them. But she would go from like this. Then she would say, all right, let's test this. But before we could do the chord changes, we'd write on one chord. And basically, that's what we were doing. And I can't remember, it's regularly like a class, but it was a group setting. And when I look back at it, I thought that was one of the best classes for guitar lessons for young kids, because we were actually, they would teach us, A, B, C, D, F, G, the music theory, but it was more hands-on than it was theory, because they were preparing us for the winter, music assembly. So of course they wanted us to sound good. What good is if you could recite every note on the fretboard, but you can't play? That's called a lecture. And it's different if you can have a lecture, 100%. But if you can have a performance, you need to practice, man. You need to be able to get some action going on, because otherwise it'd be clinking and clunking all over the place. And the school was smart. The school I went to was called Horace Greeley. It used to be on Sheffield and Gray Street in Chicago, but it was an old school. When they tore it down after I graduated, they moved it to Irving Park it was Irving Park and Broadway, by a place called Gill Park. My younger sister, she graduated from there. I graduated from the old school. But we had, point being made, is we had to actually play. And how we learned was playing rhythms. And then we applied them to the songs. She'd give us the ditto machine. She'd write out the chords and the songs with the lyrics. And her and her partner would sing them. And we'd be strumming. The only song I remembered, and I don't remember, I just remember this. It was Little Hotel, Older Than Hell, Bottle of Wine, Fruit of the Vine, or something like that. I mean, 50 years ago, man. I don't remember, right? But what I do remember is how they were teaching. And that method stayed with me when I would teach. Um, as well as, other things that they'd want to learn or play. But I really was trying to emphasis learning how to play rhythm. And if you could write your own music, it's really not that difficult. It's the, the foundation is learning how to make rhythm, because that's how you're going to make songs. And see, when you take that out of the equation and all you're doing is teaching covers, and I'm trying not to knock it on, so I don't want people getting insulted out there, but I want you to listen to this, because this contributes. It's not the main cause. And not everybody's like that too. You get creative people, they know what to do. But for the people who are not that creative, who feel like they gotta follow a rigid, set of rules, and they can't do anything other than that, then they get the idea they could play these songs a little bit. Then they go out there and play, and then you get someone who's in the band that's very experienced. They can say, okay, we're gonna take this song and we're gonna actually extend it. So now here comes the improvisation. Could you improvise off that solo? Huh? What's that? Oh, sorry, can't use you. And then people get like, oh man, what happens? Because I had a student I had to teach this, and he was getting himself, um, very frustrated because he could not expand on the solo that he learned, and the band wanted to expand on the chord progression, and they were telling him to improvise, and he didn't know how to improvise, and that's because he spent too much time learning somebody else's stuff as opposed to learning what he could do with what he already has, and that got pushed aside. So when you look at it from that point of view, what starts to happen, the music becomes more and more and more stale, and when it's 150 bands over a 15, 20-year course of time rehashing the same music, flooding the clubs, you got oversaturation, far more supply than demand. Well, see, that's what the WTF is, what happened to music. And it doesn't really take a rocket science to really look at it. I could say this because I'm actively out there playing and I see it. And I could put myself in that same category. I'm basically repeating the same thing. But the difference is, more than half of it is my own music. And a person doesn't have to like it. 100% you can have your opinion. I respect that. That's not the point. The point is, no one else is doing my music. I'm not saying it's hard to learn. They could learn it. But, if I want to be a jerkwad about it, especially everything that's copywritten, hey, we could say, no, man, that's us. That's our music. We're out there playing. You don't have the permission to play it. That's ours. We own it. So, that's what's going on with a lot of that. And it's kind of sad because this contributes to all of this. And when this starts to happen over a long period of time, and then you get a certain area that does a flip, more of a younger crowd comes in, they don't want to hear grandpa's music anymore. They've heard it all. Every time they go out, they hear it. They go out with their friends. If they want to go out to a restaurant and they have a band playing, half the time they don't stick around. As soon as the band's done setting up, the younger generation leaves because they don't want to hear it. But yet the club owners, this is what they constantly think is going on. And I'm not saying to disregard, get rid of the what's been going on out there 100%. No, that's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is take a good look and start to incorporate something different, which some of them have, by getting the DJs in. And now you got people complaining, oh, they're kind of doing like this. What's happening? What's happening to the music scene? What's happening? Well, take a good look. If you don't have any sort of variety, and I don't mean by variety, I don't mean, Wednesdays is trivia night, and then Thursdays karaoke and that. If you want to keep the music scene, take a good look what's out there and have a variety of music, because that could help save all this. Another thing that can help is if there's a certain style of music that you like, and call those clubs up, restaurants and clubs. Tell, hey man, my friend, he has a blues band. I want to see. Are you guys willing to let him play? Or he has a metal band, or he has a fusion band. You know, don't just assume. See, more people who do that, it's, you're the customer. The club owner, restaurant says, "Oh, okay." Usually, that's what happens. One of the places we did a test gig at, and it was okay. I don't like that. It's basically where we were set up, but that's their thing, and I respect that. So I'm not saying anything about them. But we did the gig there. We had 10 people. One was a small group area, like two couples, 4 people, but and then 6 other, couples, people, separate couple or just by themselves. Really liked what I was doing, and I remember I told the group of 4. I said, well, you know what? If you like what we're doing, just tell the restaurant owner. And I think that's when Deb said that. The lady that was there, if she was there, I was very disappointed in her not coming up and introducing herself to me, because I sent her the text message. Yeah, it'd be nice to, meet with me. If you don't want me to play it, that's fine. That's not personal. But unless you get busy, I understand. That's not. But if you're not busy, and you're just playing the game, don't do that, because we're also customers, and then we'll never go there or recommend that place to anybody. But we had 10 people liking what we did. Only 2 people was telling Deb, when did you get us saying? Okay, you don't like it. You don't have to like my music. It's fine. But I don't know. 10 people is more than 2 people. And the people that liked me, they said they really liked this kind of music because, and there happened to be the residents that lived in all these big homes that's right next to this shopping center. It's not a mall, it's like a big outdoor shopping center. So they're within walking distance. Maybe the drunks are too, and they're stumbling around. But maybe they're getting their cars too, because I've seen a lot of that down here. I mean, a lot of that. It's real shameful, man. Real shameful. But anyways, so she said, "No, we want people with vocals." Okay, that's fine. So I told like I said, I told the couple there, the 2 couples, yeah, just let them know. Now, whether they did or not, I don't know, because the one guy says, yeah, I'm going to talk with the owner or the manager, because, this is something that we enjoy. And we don't want to hear someone singing off key. It was very enjoyable. We could talk. We could listen to the music. We like to see someone play stuff that we like as well. I said, well, you're the customer, so, they'll listen to you more than me. So whether that they did or not, I don't know. But I can almost guarantee what's going to happen with these people that own this place. It's not going to take too long before things just start going like that. Actually, it won't be, because when after I used the restroom, I was washing my hands. There was a guy, he was washing his hands too, and he liked what I was doing. But he said that he's been hanging out there for a good year or so. And he says he has noticed the dip in interest in the music, and he said in the bands. Well, what kind of bands do you have in here? They're just all the regular, regular local bands. They'll play this, they'll play. Some of these people don't understand the term cover, but that's basically what he means. And he basically said, it's the same old, and people are starting to get burned out on it. Now, when you add to the equation some of the younger crowd, not all of them, because you get some of the younger crowd, I mean high school and into college age, that still like the rock, still like the metal, still want to see full bands, which that's a good thing right there, because it's supporting the full bands. We do need that. Some of them will like the country, some of them will like the pop bands, and that's great. It's something for everybody. But you do have this other generation that likes stuff that has a little bit more of a groove. And again, they are burnt out. And the reason why they're burnt out is because it became so saturated. And that is the problem that is out there. And there's a few of the cover bands that are willing to add a little bit more variety and even doing their own music, their own originals. And, that's very helpful because from what I've experienced, this younger generation, like I said, downtown Fort Myers, against the younger college kids, they're moving and grooving and dancing to my originals. That I tell them, one couple I was telling them, yeah, that's one of my originals. Like, wow, that sounds so great. But see, the thing is, they're also born into this new generation with YouTube and now with TikTok and everything. So this is their thing. So when they want to see music, a lot of these kids also, speaking of the style of music, there's this term called lo-fi music. Basically, from what I heard, the term lo-fi is because they're mimicking the scratchiness of the older albums and some of the hissing of the analog tapes. But the music behind it is just relaxing, groovy music. That's basically what it is. And they're so used to this. Some of these kids use this as background music when they're studying tests, college students, when they're, studying for exam or going over homework or a homework assignment or whatever. So they're getting more and more in tune to this kind of music. Whereas my generation, if you didn't know about jazz fusion, you'd hate this stuff. And I still like my rock and metal. Don't get me wrong, I love that stuff. But at some point, there is this shift that's taken, and it's becoming more and more dominant. And I think that's what happened with City Tavern. After the hurricane, the new generation came in, and they said, nope, we don't want to hear Jimmy Buffett anymore. We got burnt out. We got sick of that. Now we're of age where we're going out, and we're spending our money. So we're going to band together, and there's strength in numbers, and they're outweighing number wise the older generation. And it's interesting. It's kind of like what rock and roll did in the 1950s to the big band jazz era. Now, 70 plus years later, it's our turn. Us rockers. We're grandma and grandpa. Oh, grandpa, But I'm not, I always put the ladies first because you got lady rockers out there. We're of that age, my point is. And for those who have kids, especially in the college age, you've heard your kids say, yeah, that's cool, but that's old. I could tell you when I was teaching heavily back in Illinois, when Guitar Hero video game was popular. And all the kids were getting guitars because it was cool, number one. Number two, mom and or dad, mostly dad played guitar. He's the breadwinner mostly. He buys the kids the guitars because he wants to relive his youth. It's a good excuse. Hey dear, we're going to buy Johnny, it's his birthday. How about this? He's playing that Guitar Hero video game. We'll buy him a real guitar. How's that? We'll show him our generation. Yeah. Priest, Maiden, Sabbath. Love all that stuff. But this new generation, because I was teaching these kids, this is what I was seeing right in front of me. And sometimes they would have mom and dad. Mostly mom would sit with the girls. That doesn't, and sometimes dad would. That doesn't offend me at all, So this one mom was telling her daughter, now see, listen to him. He's good stuff. He's teaching you some good stuff there, because she wanted to learn. I think it was the Iron Maiden, the Trooper, because it was on the video game. Mom liked it. Dad loved it. However, The daughter liked it, but the daughter also was liking Avenged Sevenfold and bands like that, which a lot of those bands are influenced by the 80s metal, but they're just taken it to a different realm. But see, mom and dad, here's the way the vocals are. That's screaming. That's noise. So now there's the mother-daughter clash right there, right before my eyes, as mom is telling the daughter, you watch and see, you're doing it. And she's rolling her eyes. And I'm thinking to myself, you know, she's doing what she can when she can. And she's making progress. But I wanted to say this, but see, it's real tough. When you got mom sitting right there to tell mom, you need to let your daughter be her own individual person because that's who she's going to be. And this is the mistake I saw. And this is why some of these kids dropped out of guitar. Because it was fun during the Guitar Hero video game craze. Now they're going to play it. But you see, they're being told what to play. They're not being allowed to have their own expressive freedom. And when you take that away from somebody, they're going to reject it. It's that simple. They're just going to reject it. So this is part of what's been happening. And the reason why I bring all this up, you have to look at over a course of time. Things, they morph into this, that, and the other. And when you start to see these changes and you look back, you could see what caused all this and now what's the results. I'm not a fan of rap or hip hop, but I will say with the hip hop music, those rhythms are basically different forms of the jazz fusion groove thing. They're just done differently. And the reason why I say that, maybe I'm 100% wrong. You get someone that's very knowledgeable in music theory and music history, that's fine. But see, I can only relate to growing up in Chicago, the sounds I would hear with all the blues and the jazz clubs, mixing the funk groove and then the rock groove, and a lot of it with the funk groove and the jazzy stuff and all that. Those rhythms are just so close to this hip hop rhythm that's happening here. I could turn on a drum machine that says, you know how drum machines are, they got the different styles, and here's the hip hop style. And I could guarantee I could put something to that. Because it's kind of a reflection of what I heard with the fusion stuff. And the fusion incorporated a lot of jazz. It's just, modern jazz, not the traditional. But the traditional is what kind of led the way to the modern stuff. You see, everything comes from somewhere, guys. But the point is, let me see if I can. We do got some people. Good. What's happening, man? Yeah, thank you, guys. Oh yeah, the music walk fun. They are fun. Yeah, it is hard for bands. Yeah, to break out, especially nowadays. Old man Dan, is that you in there, brother? Yeah, exactly. Or should I say, rearrange the industry? Yeah. See, this is what's happening. We're kind of in a unique situation because change is inevitable, but it's how you go about it. And we're not gonna like every type of change. That's okay. But it's gonna happen anyway. So because of that, how do you prepare for it? Maybe we'll get left behind from the new generation. Okay, that's part of life. See, that's like I said, what is happening to rock music now is what happened to the big band jazz era back then. And it's harder for us to face this unless we have other interests in different styles of music and we're able to incorporate that. I've been, like I said, very blessed and very fortunate that I can. And not everyone's gonna like it, but what I've been taking notice of this, it's a mostly it's a younger generation mixed with some of the older generation that like this music. But the younger generation are far outweighing the older generation, because there's still a lot of people that are down here that want to hear Jimmy Buffett. And I'm not knocking them, but my point is, this newer generation, they don't want to hear it. If they come down here to Florida when they were young kids, mom and dad basically were taking them to the beach places and spending a week at the hotels, and they're hearing all the Buffett music and that style. And a lot of these kids, when they grow up, they don't want to hear that anymore, man. And for this older generation, they're having a hard time. I could tell they're having a hard time with this. They're starting to see their world change. And it was inevitable. Now, what I think, and I could be wrong, but what I think would be a really good solution, and I'm talking about for these restaurants, so they could still keep their crowd and also embrace the newer crowd, is have this mix. If they're going to do it with music, if they are going to help save the music scene, this is a solution. Because, like I said, I even told this to the lawyer, because she's the one that's helped coordinating the music walking in. She 100% totally agrees. Is have different theme nights at these places. And you don't have to have music, 7 days a week. If it's tough, it is tough. You know, this is here. It's tough to pay everybody, and I could almost guarantee. I'm going to say almost guarantee, because I'm not playing in a band right now. But if I put a band together and try to get each one of us to get $200, a 4-piece band, $200, you're looking at paying the band $800. Chances of a club restaurant owner paying a whole band, full band, $800 is very slim to none. Maybe on special occasions. And or you better have one hell of a draw, because that's the only way they're going to be able to afford it. Otherwise, they can't. Some of these places are topping out at between $350 to $400 for the whole band. I go out as a solo. That means my pay with a full band would be $100 tops and or less. I'm making more than that by myself. So when people have asked me, why don't I put a band together, that is one of the reasons. I mean, I'm also do want to help make some extra money, and we used to live off of this. It's real hard to do it now, unless you got a lot of money saved, and or the money you do have saved, you don't want to start burning through it. You don't want to start burning through it, because you could burn real fast through that money if you're not careful. So, I think what needs to be addressed is, for people who want to hear a certain style of music, go ahead and call those places. The places that you want to go out to see bands play, call them up. Say, hey man, you know what? We're almost regulars here. I know it's your club now, but we would like to see something a little different. I got a friend of mine. He's got a band, and they do southern rock. And where we're at, the place we're at right now, they just have jazz. Unless they're a jazz club, that's fine. But if they want to have a little bit difference, why don't you bring that in? Or vice versa. We're tired of listening to all the southern rock, and there's nothing wrong with it. But the point is, when one style of music is getting burned out at the same place, you're going to see a drop in attendance. And when the newer generation comes in, they're going to take over, because now it's their turn. And for those who have some money, they're gonna the money's gonna talk. That's just the way it is. Now, unfortunate, it was not as busy as it should have been, and it's not just because it's out of season. Part of it is because the economy it's tough, man. They're really pulling back. They are really pulling back from going out. So, and everyone, that's one of the things everyone talks about too. it's not just here; it's everywhere. You know, so um, it's something to really think about, though. You know, it is fun doing this full time, but it's even fun when you don't have to worry about it. When you start worrying and you're putting all the pressure on one thing to make you money, and it starts to go like this, more in a downward spiral, you're gonna get this. Everyone goes through this, and if you're not prepared for it, it could be very, very tough, very, very tough. And I forget who it was. I saw one guy's video that was happening. The trend in the used gear market. Maybe it was Robert's Guitar Dungeon, Robert Jackson. I think it was him because he's in the MI industry. Sorry about that, Robert. He said, um, they're not taking 412 cabinets anymore. If it was you, Robert, I don't want to put words in your mouth. But this guy was saying they're not taking 412 cabinets anymore. They'll take a 212 cabinet, smaller amps. Point being made, some of these bands that had spending this money, can't make any money, hitting rough times, they can't pawn their stuff. Some of the pawn shops say, man, I got this other stuff to sell, and I'm not really a music store, I'm a pawn shop. And I got all this other stuff I'm trying to sell, man. Sorry, I can't do anything for you. Go to the music store. The music store says, oh, you know what? I give you $25 for it. $25, man. I paid $1,600 for this. It's old, outdated, and you know what? It's gonna sit here. And I gotta turn a profit too. Don't be surprised. Oh yeah, here we go. Hey, Rich Cretch, what's happening, man? Rich, you are awesome, awesome artist, man. This guy, if anyone's out there, check out his channel. Richard, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Cretchy or Cretch? I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. But you are one hell of an artist, one hell of a painter, man. And the videos I did see of you playing, you're awesome, man. You are up in the Portland area. Yeah. No, Portland area is beautiful, man. Yeah. It's great, man. It just the trees, the landscaping. I love all that stuff, man. To me, painting is like music visual. You know, it really is. Let me get this one. It's like this. So here I have just a clean sound. Here's the phase shifter. Color, you know what I mean? Want to put a little overdrive in? You know, the difference between this pedal, the Boss GT1 and the ME90, when I switch between different patches on the ME90, it'll trail. Even if I switch to a different patch, that delay will trail. Or if I'm switched to another patch, it's not like this. It's not like this. That sudden, abrupt cutoff. But I mean, I'm sure maybe I could get in and do the trail thing on the GT1 and that. But you know, the best thing to do is just let that note sustain and then switch and then But my point is, music is the audio version of art. And I'm still doing my painting. I haven't done as much as I'd like to, and my drawings and that. But still, man, just really get back into it. You know, with all the gigs and then the driving gig, which I'm never gonna get rid of that, man, because right now it's working perfect for me. And that's what I mean. Do the things that work for you guys. Don't. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone. Oh, Rich, you liked it? Yeah, I'm sure you guys. I'm sure you could do like a paint job on that, man. Do a painting of that. I haven't been able to have the time to watch a lot of people's YouTube videos and live streams. But you're smart, Rich. Doing the live stream is perfect because you don't have to try to edit video. It's just a lot of work, man. It's just a lot of work. Let's see if I could see my. Yeah, you're very welcome, man. Yeah, Seattle. Yep. Now, Rich, are you still playing with your duo? I think you had a female vocal. She was good, man. I gotta get on your channel, man. I apologize. I really apologize. I'm so glad that you tuned in, man. A lot of times when you see the extra thumbs up on your thumbnails, and that I'm that's one. I'm part of those thumbs up on it. Because yeah, I think it's just great, man. Absolutely great. You know, amazes me. When I was younger, I would do a lot of sketching, you know, with pencil. And the thing is with pencil, it's how can I say this? It's hard. It's a paintbrush is soft. You got to understand the flexibility of the paintbrush. Whereas a pencil, you know, it's a direct thing, and you could just not worry so much about being so flexible. You know, it's like this. Just recently, within the last almost a month now, I've went from a .15 millimeter pick to a .88, a 1.5 millimeter. So real stiff pick to a .88, and there's definitely flexibility. So it's like from a pen or pencil to a paintbrush. I'm learning that. But this pick's been helping me. I was getting a little bit of tennis elbow here, not realizing what it is. And part of it's because of my picking exercises I'll be doing them. I would do these exercises much slower, but for like 10-minute increments, 10-minute increments, 10-minute increments for like an hour. And after a while, I would feel it in here. But by using this thinner pick, I don't get that issue. Plus, I'm not breaking strings as much as I was, man. Oh, God. I go through strings like crazy. Good. I'm glad you're still playing, man. I forgot. What is the name? What is the name of your guys' your duo? You can probably see the BC Rich Warlock. Yeah, this guitar is great, man. That thing is 24 years old now. Neck through. I got the Roland pickup on there. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. See, I got the arrow here. Is it Vic Elite? That's right. I'm gonna look it up again, man. And I hope you guys do have some more videos up. Cause it was awesome. I remember one time I was watching a live stream, and I think she had called during your live stream. That was awesome, man. And you actually were talking to her, and she was real nice. Yeah, I'm gonna call one of the patches on here my flange patch here. Now, what I did here on this patch, I moved the flanger to go after the distortion and through the amp. So it's not like equivalent of running it into the effects loop. Well, actually, it goes right through the distortion. So it's not after the distortion. So it does not have that jet set sounding, but it has this little bit of a. I can't really do that on the ME90. Maybe if I hook it up to the computer. Let's see. Yeah, experience, man. Yeah, it's. How long have you been doing art, Rick? Yeah, obviously it's been a very long time, man. You know, when you said about the experience, getting used to the only thing I could call it, the pressure point when the brush touches the canvas. And I know there's different types of brushes. I've been kind of messing around with like the fan brush. You got like the angle brush. You do different like for waterfalls. If you want to take the angle, and then bring it down, it's yeah, it's pretty cool. But the stuff that you were doing with the landscape, man, was. You know what it reminds me? It reminds me when I was young. Oh, since '95, I started. Wow, good for you, man. Yeah, that's quite some time. See, before I started playing guitar, I used to draw and sketch, and then I had watercolor. But see what I'm talking about? I started playing guitar in 1974, and even through that, I think the last time I did anything art wise was before high school. So I went to high school in 77. I graduated high school in 1981. So 77, 78. Um, and I did have in my sophomore year an art class. So yeah, I take that back. So yeah, 78. And I was messing with the watercolors, but it was an art class, you know. And my mind was drifting off into the music, you know. So, and then about 10 years ago, my wife got me an art set, and I started getting back into some of the drawing. I took my time with the sketch. It came out pretty good. I was yeah, pretty shocked. And then just recently got into doing the acrylics and then the different soft pastels and oil pastels and just learning about that. But man, some of you guys out there, you and some of these people on these YouTube channels, whoa, it blows my mind. I'm like, holy crap. But when I was in high school, my sophomore year all the way through my senior year, I had graphic arts and AKA print shop. And we had the old plant and printing press. We had to spin the wheel and get the thing going. And you had to lock the typesetting in this like block and set it in the tray and set it on the press, and the press would do this, you know. But we had two offset, AB Dick offset printing presses. The only one we had a 1260, I think, no 1250, I can't remember, but I definitely had the AB Dick 360 press. That's the one that always worked, and we had to burn the plates. And at the time, my instructor, he had, at the time it was the new technology, the Canon AE1. So he would take the pictures outside, bring them in. We would develop the film inside the darkroom so we could bring it onto the printing plate, the press plate. And when, we'd have the chemical, watching the pictures, develop right there. That was so cool, man. That's when I see you guys with art, when I see your artwork, and it's like these pictures, they just appear, man. It's like, wow, they're appearing as you're watching it. It is like the coolest thing, man, to see. And I see some of these, I've seen some of these people painting pictures that are so lifelike that it is so cool, but it's like I don't know if I'm looking at a photograph or not, and there's nothing wrong with that. What is cool, what you do, Rich, it's this imagination thing. You're doing it like what you see, but it's also this imagination world. And to me, that is the most interesting because you can alter things, you know, that is so cool. There's another girl that she does stuff like this. What's her name? Lydia Broderick Art. She does some pretty wild stuff, man. But, yeah, the landscaping is really cool because what I like about landscaping, it's like it's an area you can look at, and it can be like your escape. Especially when life is all haywire, man. You look at this and you just escape into this other world, man. That's what's so cool about it. So have you ever Yeah, Surf Prophet, let's see. My mom used to color black. Oh yeah, black and white photos. Yeah, you know what? That was another thing. Color black and white photos. Yeah, with pastels. You couldn't tell the. Yeah, see that's an art right there, man. That is just so cool, so unique when you watch this stuff. It's like, man, how do you do this stuff? You know. So it's very inspiring, very therapeutic, man. But Rich, have you ever played at? Have you ever done any art shows? And have you ever played in your booth? Because we've done a couple art shows, and I had my classical guitar playing. Uh, the first one we played at didn't sell anything, but that's okay. I mean, a lot of people didn't sell anything. And another lady, she was real way better than me, and she didn't sell anything. The second one, yeah, we sold the painting. The guy was like, he liked the way it looked, but we would play. I let him know that uh, I won't be just disrespectful and rude with the other artists, and other vendors. But I'll set up and play. What's really unique with that, I'm calling the shots with the music. I don't have to worry about covers. See, to me, covers is like when people have to do commissions, and I've seen enough of these YouTube videos. Excuse me. And my friend Gordy, he's an artist. He's a great drummer. He's a great artist. He had some of his paintings featured. We did this one. We did a painting of Randy Rhoads, and it was featured in Guitar World magazine. Totally awesome. But when you gotta do commissions, and then you spend all this time, and then you take the picture as the progress is happening. That's what my friend was telling me. Send them the copy of the picture. No, I want to change. I want to, then they want to change everything, and you spend all this time. See, to me, that's how I see if playing in a cover band. I've played in a cover band, a lot of cover bands, but in particular, it was nothing but covers. I was with them for about a year, and we would literally we were doing at some clubs, 5 to 6 nights a week, 5 to 6 sets a night, man. And you want to talk about a burnout overkill? Woo! But it was the best experience I ever had because I learned a lot from that band. A lot. And I totally respected the drummer who was the leader of the band. He would tell all of us he would get most of the money. He would get more of the percentage because he's doing all the phone calls. Okay, I don't have a really problem with that. You're doing all the work, man. You're getting us work. So I see. But, yeah. I'll bring my acoustic to my art show. It's a Saturday market weekday during the summer. That's great, man. It's like this big networking. You know what? The funny thing is, whether it's an arts and crafts show, I've done a lot of farmers markets, plain wise, something like that, where there's traffic, there's the potential of selling something and making money. It's always like that. So let me do a couple pads before I close off the evening here. So this is like a Marshall setting on the GT1 with the flanger going through the distortion and into the amp. That type of thing. Okay, now here is the same Marshall type with no effect except a little bit delay and reverb. Now, here's the same setting with the Univibe, not in the effects loop, but the Univibe, going through the distortion, going through the amp. And you kind of get like, I call it the Robin Trow or Hendrix type of thing. Now I'm going to take off the Tube Screamer and setting that's in here, but the Univibe's still staying in. I'm going to turn the volume down. I don't have the whammy bar in this. I got it on the other guitar, so. But for the money, this little GT1 is badass, man. You slap batteries in here, and you know, pretty cool. And then I got one patch. I call it No Quarter. That's a little bit of actually, it is just an overdriven amp sim with the phase shifter going through the front of the amp and the rate turned up a little bit high to give it that little what we call the watery sound. Now I don't have the other foot switch hooked up to this, so I would have to do something like this. Yeah, but just the volume is set up a little higher. You know, it's hard for me to sit like this and play because all the years of playing classical guitar, to me this is the most comfortable. But then sometimes it's hard for me to work the pedal like this, you know. So yeah, a lot of times what I'll do is, well, most all the time, is go direct to PA. And you just set the setting to line out, and it works great. You have to drag as many gear out, you know. So yeah, guys, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. You know, a lot of the things that I talk about is stuff that I just go through. Doesn't mean everyone's gonna go through that, but you know, it could get very very frustrating and very discouraging. I know I've seen a lot of these videos where everyone's got all this advice, and absolutely take the advice if it works for you, you know, because they're going to be talking from their experience. But sometimes if something doesn't work well for you, then find the things that do and just go with that, and life will be nice, man, you know. So anyways, guys, hopefully the storm is going to be blown over. I hope it doesn't hit anybody. We'll just have to find out. I don't think we'll be able to do anything live tomorrow if we wanted to, because when those storms roll through here, it messes with the internet connection, and it's a pain. It's a real pain. So, but I appreciate everyone tuning in, and I'll see if I get Rich. I'll see if I get on your video. I gotta get more on that, because yeah, and your art is great, man. And everybody out there, you get on your YouTube channels and that. But if you don't hear from us for a day or two, the storm ran through here, and hopefully things will be all right. Anyways, guys, we hope you all stay safe out there. Yeah, John Dawson, thank you. You rock on. God bless you too, man. You're awesome. And Surf Prophet, take care of you too, brother. And Rich, and thank you for tuning in. Oh, the McCarty, yeah. Thank you so much, my friend. I really appreciate it. And we will talk very soon. We'll keep you posted. We don't know if we're going to do any recording on any live stream at the weekend gigs because some of the private. But if we do, we'll let you know. Anyways, stay strong, safe, and true. Rock on and God bless. We love you all. Thank you for watching. Take care now.